When updating your Creative Cloud suite, you may have noticed a program that comes with After Effects called Character Animator. Now, jumping straight into it, you'll find a pretty empty interface without a whole lot of direction about what to do next. Don't worry, we've got you covered. Character Animator is a powerful new tool that allows you to use a live performance to drive an animated character. In our survival guide, we'll walk you from import to export so you can firmly place this incredible software in your animation workflow. As a side note, Character Animator is meant to be used in conjunction with the other Adobe programs, so at the very least you'll need either Photoshop or Illustrator to create a puppet, as well as a webcam connected to your computer. Launching the app takes you to a start page with links to tutorials, examples, and templates to get you started. As you're starting out, we recommend taking one of their examples and, layer by layer, replacing the artwork with your own. It's important to keep the layer structure and naming conventions the same because that's what Character Animator will be looking for to tag each part. That's what we'll do here. To import your custom puppet into Character Animator, go to File, Import, and choose the Illustrator or Photoshop file, or simply drag it into the project window. Now that the project is a bit less empty, let's examine our workspace. Choose Rig on the top workspace bar. In the project window, a puppet appears. Puppets are the main type of asset in Character Animator. Our main window in this workspace is the Puppet window, which is divided into two areas. To the right we have the visual canvas, and on the left are the layers. Notice that the hierarchy on the layers follows the structure of your layers or groups in Photoshop or Illustrator. Click here to toggle the visibility of each layer. This next column toggles the warp independence of each group. Now by default, Character Animator will distort the puppet as a whole. Making a group independent allows that layer to move without distorting the rest of the puppet. To the right of the layer name, you'll find information about each layer, specifically about handles, behaviors, and keyboard triggers. Handles are the basic points that attach to layers and affect their behaviors. On the bottom of the window, you'll find the Handle toolbar, which we'll quickly go through. The first icon is the regular handle tool, used for applying additional handles to any layer. Next is the Stick tool, used to keep your puppet mesh from bending. Here, we'll add some sticks to the puppet's right arm. We'll intentionally leave the left arm stickless so that you can see the difference in a moment when we begin animating the puppet. The Pin tool stops a layer from moving, pinning it into place. To keep the feet locked down, let's add a pin to each layer. With the arms, however, we want the ability to manipulate them. Clicking the Dragger tool allows us to add draggable handles to layers. Now when we capture the facial performance, we can control the arms as well. We can also add handles that are affected by physics, like gravity. Let's use the Dangle tool to attach a handle to the end of the ponytail. The problem with independent warp layers is that they tend to drift as you sway back and forth. The Staple tool firmly attaches one layer to another so this doesn't happen. Let's add a staple handle onto the shoulders click the right arm layer and change the attach style to hinge. Now we're not quite done with the rigging, but we need to check our work. Click on the puppet in the project window and click Add to New Scene. This takes us to the Record workspace where the performance is captured. If your puppet is too big and off screen, like ours is, twirl down the Transform property and adjust accordingly. Now you should be able to see your character reacting to your movements via the webcam. Talk, and the mouth will sync to the audio that's being picked up.
Hello.
We'll dig deeper into this workspace soon enough, but for now, let's see what we need to adjust. There are some facial features that weren't automatically tagged, and the left arm looks like spaghetti since we didn't put any sticks on that layer. Let's jump back to the Rig workspace and fix those issues. Blinking is an important subconscious cue any animation needs for an audience to feel like the character has life. But because our blink layers aren't labeled exactly right, they weren't automatically tagged. Luckily, we can do this manually. Select the blink layer for the left eye. This brings us to the last panel on the right, the Properties window. This is a catch-all panel where effect controls will appear depending on what's selected. With the blink layer selected, we can now tag it with the blink tag by clicking the blink icon on this face or selecting it in this list of tags. If you're creating a puppet from scratch, these tags are a great reference as to what specific body parts, mouth shapes, and body angles you can attach with specific behaviors. And while we're here, let's add a trigger. Triggers allow you to assign certain actions to keyboard keys. We'll type in B for blink, check Hide Others in Group, and do the same for the other blink layer. Now in the Record workspace, when we press and hold B, the puppet character blinks. Let's hop back to the rig and add one more thing before really diving into the other workspaces. Select the chest layer and, in the Properties window, click the plus sign in the Behaviors section to add one. Behaviors create different effects applied to the layers. There's a ton to choose from, but for now we'll add a simple one called Breathe. We'll adjust the parameters a bit so the effect is more subtle. Let's also attach the body handle with a breathe tag so we can further control the origin of the breathing deformation. Now switch back to Record, and our puppet comes to life. You may have noticed in switching back and forth between the Rig and Record workspaces that there's a third one we've been ignoring named Stream. We'll talk more about streaming at the end. Record and Stream are essentially the same, but Record has a timeline panel, so we'll stay there for now. Let's elaborate on the panels in this workspace. The main panel is the Scene window, where you can see the puppet you created in action. Your puppet is reacting to data captured by your webcam, which is shown in the corner. In this panel, you can see the data points that are tracked on your face. And at the bottom, there's a button where you can set the rest pose for the puppet. Clicking this button will sync up your face with the neutral face of the puppet, so it's important to start in a comfortable, neutral position. Underneath is the Properties panel, which is similar to the Properties panel in the Rig workspace. In here, you can adjust each property live and see how it affects the puppet. The main difference with this panel are these red dots, which relate to the Timeline panel. Let's actually record something so that we can get a grasp of what it does. Simply click the Record button and start recording what Character Animator refers to as takes.
Hi, how are you?
A whole ton of track items appear with the puppet in the timeline. Notice that each item corresponds with each property in the Properties panel. These are called takes. Scrub the timeline to see the recorded performance and click the play button to play back. Character Animator doesn't deal with keyframes the way Premiere and After Effects do, so to redo any part of the performance, you'll need to record over those takes. You can turn off properties that you don't want affected by the performance and record each take individually.
Hi, how are you?
Note that each new take will be placed on top of and overwrite the previous take. To avoid a snap between takes, drag in on the top track to blend the takes into each other. Takes can also be edited, similar to editing clips in Premiere, by cutting and adjusting the edges. When editing, turn off the webcam input so as not to contaminate and confuse the performance shown in the scene. Let's do another take so we can animate the right arm here.
Hi, how are you?
Visemes, which are the mouse shapes the puppet makes, can also be adjusted, trimmed, and even replaced. Alright, let's get this puppet exported. How? Well, it depends. You have the option to use the character you rigged as a live puppet for streaming purposes. To do this, you'll need third-party software called Mercury Transmit. To learn more, go to File, Export, Live Options. However, this menu also includes some more traditional options of exporting, such as a PNG sequence or video file via Media Encoder. Lastly, dragging the project file into an After Effects project will create a dynamically linked asset so that you can further refine the puppet's performance while seeing it update live in After Effects.